hello everybody. Welcome to the Märklin Outsider, episode 2 of series 2. And it's nice to have you all here again. Hopefully I will keep this relatively short because I don't have a lot to either talk about or show today. But as I'm going to use this to talk about my Märklin related products, I did get a couple of new things at Christmas time. Now, I have been looking to get new RegioBahn DoStockwagen or double-decker cars, coaches, for a while. I have a 5-year-old, 6-year-old Märklin 43570 set. That was the 3-car set. And I have one of the add-on cars, 43571. I never got the full complete the full complete set. It's the one German train I have that is not true to consist, and I'm not big on having to be true to consist, but with my regional trains, whether it's the ICE4 or the Metronome or the RegioBahn, I've always wanted them to have the full 5-car consist. Anyhow, I have waited and waited for Märklin to re-release a lighted series of cars. It was either late 2019 or maybe it was in 2020. They did release a new series of RegioBahn DoStockwagen double-decker cars, but they aren't lighted. And yes, I know you can buy the light sets and put it in, but I'd rather somebody else did that and pay the extra money. Anyhow, I've been waiting and waiting. My set was bought new, but I've had a couple accidents with it, and a couple of the cars aren't in the best shape, and I've fixed them where they'll run on my layout, but I really could not find cars to replace the couple that are kind of slightly messed up. Anyhow, so Roco, or how about I turn it this way so you can read it. Roco released early this year 2 new sets, 2 3-car sets, and then add-on cars for it. And I hemmed and hawed. I was waiting for Märklin. I would rather buy Märklin than a secondary company that converts or makes stuff for Märklin. But if I'm going to go that way, I'm going to go Roco because I have found Roco does one of the best jobs of making rolling stock for AC. Even their locomotives, I think, just work the best with the Märklin control system and the Märklin C-Track system that I use. That shouldn't be a hit against companies like Pico. And a year and a half, 2 years ago, I did an episode with the Märklin Outsider where I talked about the different companies. Anyhow, before I get to showing you the cars, the reason I keep showing this box is I ordered this and I was finally gave up and had Joyce get them for me for Christmas. And if Märklin's not going to make it, I'm tired of waiting. But then when I got the box and opened it for Christmas, the real thrill was this. Whoops, let's put it on the camera there. Here we go. Hobbytrade. Hobbytrade was a Danish company. And when I first got into the hobby, I was seeing videos all over the place from German, Dutch, Danish, guys all over Europe, Scandinavia, Northern Europe, who had Hobbytrade rolling stock and just praised it and praised it. And when I saw it in their videos, the lighting was just exquisite. The cars looked fantastic. And I always wanted to get Hobbytrade, but I could never find somebody that sold it and shipped it to America. My hobby shops that I do business with don't do it. eBay was not easy to find. Hobbytrade was small. And then a couple of years ago, year and a half ago, it started to appear that Hobbytrade went out of business. And maybe a viewer can correct me if that's not true. But their site had not changed in 2 years. They were not issuing any new stock, and they were out of any old stock. And Roco has apparently as you saw, this says in cooperation with Hobbytrade. So Roco has either bought out their old stock or is now releasing it for them. So I was thrilled. And let me tell you, the hype, the people talked about the quality of these cars and the lighting system and just how nice the cars looked, has yet to disappoint with my first two. I'm waiting to get the 3-car set when it comes back in stock. And of course, when I talk about quality, there's just like cars, which I was into for a long time, still am. There's initial quality and long-lasting quality. And long-lasting quality, you can't tell. You have to have it for years down the road. But I just know that everybody I saw online that had Hobbytrade rolling stock just loved it. And so I'm excited to share these two with you. So let's look at the 2 cars I got and compare, because there's one thing about Hobbytrade that I really love, but you'll see the issue. Hobbytrade made their cars true scale 187, where the Märklin is its traditional 195 or 1:98. Some things Märklin does, like the ICE4 that I had in the last video, they did that at 1:93.5 scale. But usually Märklin is like 1:95 or 1:98 even. Sometimes, like Pico, I think they even go 1:100 scale. So I will compare it to the old Märklin system, and you can see the size difference. Okay, so here you can see, before they're lit up, the 2 RegioBahn cars from Hobbytrade via Roco. I've got them connected up to my Pico El Cheapo Class 143, and of course Märklin announced they're going to release a much more detailed and higher functioning BR143 for this year. Oh well. Alright, now what I really like about these, and I'm going to take these apart real quick. Okay, so the thing about the Hobbytrade and the Rocos is that each one has its own shoe. So there it is. Let's focus. There we go. And so they are self-powered. You don't have to have powered couplings. Now, that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, it does mean the price of each car is probably a little higher, but it also means if you have an issue where one car goes out, it doesn't take everything along the line out. So they are nicely detailed. I mean, there is nothing too fancy about the RegioBahn cars. They're just omnipresent in Germany. But again, nice detail coloring in the signage. That was something I loved about the new ICE4 from Märklin. But again, it's just a nice sign of Hobbytrade that they really did make it. All right, so let's light them up and really check out the lights. There we go. Just really nice interiors. You can see the full interiors. Very nicely done. The interior lighting just, the only company whose lighting I think is on par with Hobbytrade was Jägendorfer Collection. Their lighting in their Railjets, Czech and Austrian, always impressed me wherever you see it. But Hobbytrade's lighting, and having said that, as you heard me talk about in the Märklin Outsider last episode, is the new ICE4 has just exquisite lighting, which we'll show in a little bit again. All right, so just a couple of gorgeous cars. They run smoothly. And now what I'd like to do is go ahead and bring up the old Märklin set. And we'll do a little side-by-side comparison. And right here, I'm trying to line them up so you can see that they're roughly even here. The difference between true scale and the shorter scale, that is common. And Again, all the main German companies do shorter scale. Every now and then, Roco or Pico will release cars as true scale. They will release them as true scale. But Märklin rarely, if ever, when it comes to passenger stock, does true scale. I can't think of anything, and I'm sure somebody could type below in the comments section and correct me. But also the lighting. And this is not bad lighting. Please do not get me wrong. This is nice lighting. But there's just something a little cleaner and a little more truer about that lighting in the other cars. That softer lighting. And of course, I'm pretty sure this is one of the last generations that use the incandescent light bulbs as opposed to LED. And LED lighting is just changing interior designs of model trains. So there you can see the nice difference between the Hobbytrade DoStockwagens and the Märklin class, well, I should say Series 43570 and the add-on car. And there's the rest of it. Again, it's a great set. I am not here to take down Märklin at all. Everybody who knows me knows I love my Märklin, and I think these cars are great. I just do happen to love the Hobbytrade version a little better. A little bit more detail, a little bit more realistic in some areas. And it would be nice if Märklin would do this as well. Update these. And yes, you could buy the new set Märklin released and put in your own new LED lighting system. But for me, it's just kind of nice that Hobbytrade already did it for me. Okay, the only other thing I've got, which I'll show you briefly, is right at Christmas time, Märklin released the add-on car, notice empty box, it's already on, for the ICE4. Now the ICE4 runs and consists of 12 cars. And when they released the ICE4, you get the primary 5-car set. Then there is a 3-car set, which has 2 first-class cars and a second class, including an additional pantograph operating one. And then there were these, and you're supposed to get 4 of these. Well, I've made the tough decision. I cannot run a 12-car consist on my layout. Along the back and around the long curves I have, yes. But to park it anywhere, I just don't have the room. So I'm going to keep it at a 9-car consist. So I only got 1 of these, and then I will get the add-on 3-car set. So I will be running it as an improper consist. I may turn around, buy 3 more of these cars and just have them in reserve, have them stored somewhere, so that if ever I do something to change or just decide what the heck, I'll run a 12-car consist on the loop, then I'll have them in reserve. So I might do that. I might go ahead and pick up 3 more of these while they're out and about. We'll see. But anyhow, I'll just show the ICE4 one last time with this added, and then sometime in the next month, we should be getting a 3-car set. All right, we're going to send those 2 beautiful Hobbytrade cars on their way. Let the 143 take them off over towards Delmenhorst. And let's bring in the ICE4 one more time, and we'll go ahead and stop it right here, because you probably couldn't tell which one is the add-on car anyhow. In fact, it's this one, because the manual says it should go right behind the second class control cab. So here it is. You really can't tell much difference between it and the car behind it. It's not meant to be any different. There are numbering differences. For example, if you read here closely, you can say this is car 6. And right behind it is car 7. As you can see, the interior lighting is there and just as gorgeous as others. And as always, you can shift it. And again, I just think this is exquisite lighting. The detail is exactly like the ICE4. I will try to post a link in your upper right hand corner where you can find my show where I reviewed the ICE4. But again, just a gorgeous piece of work. But again, it is in 193.5 scale as opposed to true scale. The Pico is in true scale. And people have asked me to do a comparison with the Pico ICE4, but I'm not going to spend that kind of money on a Pico to do the comparison. So there it is. That is the new ICE4 car added in. Model number 43724 to go with the ICE4. All right, so that is a little bit of a look at the 2 bits of Märklin rolling stock that I got this week. All right, so there you have it. Just a couple of things I picked up for Christmas. Didn't get a lot. I did have one other train I would love to have shown you for Christmas. It was a Brava, a Talent BR643 diesel unit. Unfortunately, when we took it out of the box, it fell apart like somebody had taken a sledgehammer to the insides. In the box, it looked fine. It was old new stock. In other words, it had never been opened. The old cellophane tape holding everything in place, the cellophane plastic. Even when we looked at the runners, the shoes as we call it, or the ski as we often call it in the hobby, clearly had never been taken out of box, but the box had either been dropped a couple of times, but again, the box itself looked normal. But once we took it out, the couplers, the interior couplers to hold the 3 sections together, just absolutely fell apart, just snapped. I don't know if they were already broken or the gentle way we took it out of the box. I will show that in probably my other show, the Model Train Outsider, as I'll talk about my Christmas gifts in that episode as well. So until the next episode, which clearly will not be in for at least a month, I'm going to say to everyone here, hope you had a great holiday season so far, whether you celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or Festivus, or whatever you celebrate. And I want to wish you all a happy new year, einen guten Rutsch, or ein schönes neues Jahr. And once again, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and happy trains.